Thank you for joining, everybody. We are excited to go through some exciting updates around Tikit. Topic of today's presentation is called The Future of Microsoft Service Management, and look forward to fleshing out what exactly we mean by that. So first, few introductions. My name is Joel Doss. I am the Director of Sales for Cyerson, which is the parent brand and developer of Tikit. Spoken with many of you over the years, so really excited to reconnect. I'm joined by Justin Rue, who's our CEO, and Adam Mizaki, who's our Director of Product Management. So, agenda. Justin's going to be getting into some background coverage around Cyerson for those of you that aren't intimately familiar with who we are. We've been in the Microsoft space providing ITSM tools for about the past 10, 12 years. Been definitely a journey, and we'll go through some of that background. From there, we're going to get into some explanation of what do we mean by the future of Microsoft Service Management, and why is the subject matter that we're covering considered to be the future from our perspective, at least. From there, we'll get into some more focused coverage around Tikit itself, how it scales for growth and maturity, sort of flesh out some of the differences between simple ticketing, service desk functionality, and then more advanced ITSM process, and how some updates from the product are going to map to those more advanced process requirements that our customers have been bringing to us. We'll get into Tikit Lifecycles, which is a big collection of features that's going to really expand the scope and the power of Tikit. And then from there, we'll talk about some special promotions and get you off on your way. So before we do that, just a quick sort of housekeeping comment. We do have a live Q&A feature up at the top of the ribbon here in Teams. Depending on how many questions we get, we'll do our best to respond in real time. But if we don't get to your question, we'll certainly contact you after the session and make sure that whatever it is that you want to know, we're providing that information. So from there, I'm going to turn things over to Justin, our CEO, and we'll get going.
Thanks, Joel. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
And welcome, everyone. Just to kind of repeat a little quick introduction, like Joel said, my name is Justin Rue. I am CEO of Cyerson. And, there are a lot of you out there, a lot of our existing Tikit customers that are familiar with the fact that Cyerson is the company that builds the product Tikit. But not everyone understands maybe, all of our background, kind of how we got here, and the different products that we offer and the different space that we play in. So take an opportunity, the first couple of slides, to cover off on a little bit of that background. So Cyerson is a Microsoft Gold partner. We have been for over a decade. We're an ISV, what they call an independent software vendor. So really, since 2011, we pursued kind of this idea of being forward thinkers in all things Microsoft Service Management. And kind of the key areas where our expertise comes into play is the fact that we develop these software solutions to help our customers really get more value out of their existing Microsoft investment. We're dedicated to finding new ways of building innovation into those types of products, to extending what Microsoft already provides you with your existing investment, and really kind of taking it to another level that maybe, especially in areas where Microsoft you might find gaps in their solutions. We attempt to fill those in the most innovative ways. We have, again, over a decade of experience really doing all kinds of different consulting, from app dev and system integration to customization of our own software applications. And also a big part of it is process as well. And you're going to hear a lot about process today. So you're going to see that expertise coming through. Again, as a Microsoft partner, it's interesting, but we've been working with them for over a decade, and we are very closely and tightly aligned with the team that works on their IT service management strategy. And the funny thing is, for some of you on the call, you might actually also be familiar with our on-premise side of the business, which aligns with Microsoft System Center Service Manager product. And that's what we've been working on for many, many years. Tikit is relatively new for us. It's only a couple of years old, but it's growing rapidly, maturing very quickly. And you're going to see more of that today as well. But that close alignment with Microsoft in the ITSM market is really huge to our ability to speak to the future of Microsoft Service Management today. And then finally, there's a focus component. And I think that gets lost sometimes when talking to vendor partners. So, we are a vendor that is not going to be working with all kinds of different, other partnerships out there and trying to dedicate bandwidth and resources to a whole litany of different other software companies. We are exclusively focused on the Microsoft technology ecosystem. And because of that, like, once again, that makes us uniquely positioned to talk to you about Microsoft in the service management market today. So hopefully that helps a little bit with some background. But to take it even a step further, just than kind of the background of the company, I wanted to talk more about, the company is from our vision perspective. And really, again, this term Microsoft Service Management comes up, but we are dedicated to changing the way the world looks at Microsoft Service Management. And as a vision, that's really important. You're going to see why this is important here in just a little bit. But how do we execute on that vision? Well, we have a very focused mission on empowering companies of all sizes, any maturity of processes, any needs around, whether it be support ticketing or IT service management at the higher end of that maturation scale, helping them to centralize their business processes within the Microsoft Cloud ecosystem. And by doing that, we're helping our customers unlock the full potential of their investments. And really, what we'd like to do, the end goal is to try and bring IT and IT operations a little bit closer to that employee experience. And again, if you're familiar with Microsoft technology these days, there's a big emphasis on improving IT operations and efficiency and cost savings and all those things, but also on the new way of work and those employee experiences that are very important. So we try and bring those things together. So I'm actually going to talk a little bit about how Tikit aligns with this mission and with our vision. But before we do that, I've said a term a few times here in the presentation today, and it's not really a widely known industry term, but it's something that we focus on and we have focused on for many years. And it's called Microsoft Service Management. So how we define that at Cyerson is service management practices and processes deployed using Microsoft technology. And the power of this concept really comes down to seamless access to users' devices and data across the most trusted, secure, and modern technology platforms that we all know is essentially the Microsoft technology ecosystem and all the platforms that fall under that. So why is this important? Well, it's really important because for on-prem, Microsoft has a service management tool that we've been working with for over a decade, but Microsoft doesn't really have their own native answer to that from a cloud or SaaS perspective. And that's really where Tikit comes in for us. So again, just talking about this concept of IT operations in the Microsoft ecosystem, M365 being kind of more aligned with the employee experience and Azure on the IT operations side. What we want to do is fill that gap that I just mentioned. From a support ticketing, from a service management perspective, it is primarily on-prem. And again, we work with many, many customers across the globe. We work with hundreds, and we have for over a decade on that on-prem solution. But for those that need a cloud solution, for those that are looking for something that's more seamlessly integrated into Microsoft's cloud technology, that's really where Tikit comes in. And so what we'd like to do is be able to connect that employee experience and those IT operational tools and kind of seamlessly pull all of this together through what naturally is kind of the quarterback of the team when it comes to managing operations and delivering a better employee experience. That is ticketing, right? So the end goal, the vision for Tikit long term, is to create that cloud ticketing system, and for more mature organizations, a cloud service management platform that integrates into all the other cloud technologies that Microsoft has to offer, really knocking down those barriers that will be put up with a third-party ticketing system that would need to integrate in, and kind of creating something as native as can be created that wasn't actually built by Microsoft. That is our vision with Tikit. So I'm very proud to introduce today something that we'll be releasing in the summer of this year, and it's called our next plan, really our next tier or plan of the product that is Tikit, is our Microsoft 365 ITSM plan. With this, there's a couple of key linchpin areas of the product that I want to point out. We will dive deeper into it, and we'll also talk more about details here in just another slide. But the first one is Tikit Lifecycle Management, a concept that is really, it's well known in any IT service management product out there, but it really allows you to define the entire ticket experience from creation to closure and from every process within your organization. And that includes how you kind of aggregate and complete work and approvals, tasks, things like that. Something else that's going to be key to this release is the ability to have a little bit more control and to some extent some more customization within the product. So there are a couple of key areas, like including more stakeholders, but also being able to dial in your day as an agent a little bit better with things like our affected users and collaborators feature will be coming out with this product, or this plan, excuse me. And then also my work and my group work views will be enhanced in this So there's actually an enhanced My Work view and then a net new My Groups Work view that'll be coming with this plan. And then also a new notification center allowing you to customize those notifications to your needs. So another area that we find is really valuable for organizations looking to mature their processes and get more into that IT service management space is the ability to manage events and alerting. And so by doing that, we're going to be integrating with Azure Monitor with our ITSM plan, allowing you to be more proactive and get away from that reactive work, allowing you to get away from sending a bunch of communications about what's down and what's happening, and just create tickets off of those alerts and then work those tickets the way it should be, right? So these are just a couple of very high-level linchpin areas of the product that really make this plan of the product more mature and kind of ready for that growth that a lot of our customers are seeing and will inevitably see as they grow. But there is a lot more. We'll get into that a little bit deeper here in just a minute. I did want to take a moment to talk about, the details of IT service management and this new plan that we have. So Microsoft 365 ITSM, if I were to summarize it just as cleanly as I possibly can, the goal with this plan is for you to be able to centralize your business processes and also standardize company-wide service delivery within your Microsoft 365 environment and within that technology ecosystem. We do have a date right now to launch this product of July 18th. And so with that, we've got, a few months here and nicely timed on April 18th to be able to tell you about this. You can see down the right side that we do have a list of features that will be available at launch. We will again get into some of these here in just a moment, but I did want to call out something, and we've done this before, and I'm really excited to share this with our customer base. So to thank our customers for being so committed to the Tikit product, to being so engaged in how it's developed in our roadmap and our technically speaking conversations that you have with our director of product management, Adam Zaki, and just sharing what this product needs to be, where it needs to go, and how it can help you and fit your needs. I wanted to share a promotion for our existing Tikit customers today. So for current customers of Tikit on an annual M365 service desk plan, as of July 18th, you will be upgraded at no additional cost to our ITSM tier and gain access to these features. I will say that I know it's going to stand out that I'm talking about annual plans. And I know we do have some customers on monthlies. The main reason for this is that ITSM will not have a monthly plan option. It won't have that term. It will be exclusively an annual term option for our ITSM plan. So for anyone that wants to take advantage of this, or if you're a Teams ticketing customer and you're not on M365, or if you're on an M365 service desk plan, but it's monthly, we'd really like for you to reach out to team@tikit.ai and just find out more, talk to us. We'd like to tell you about how you can secure, the access to this upgrade at no additional cost. And with that, also what your options may be if you're not already on an annual service desk plan. So once again, thank you to our existing customers. We're really grateful for everything that you do to help us make this product what it is, to help us dial in each of the plans that we've rolled out, and really help it fit the needs of organizations across the globe. So we look forward to hearing from all of you at our team@tikit.ai email with more details on this. So as a follow-up to that, I've been talking about how our plans scale with a lot of different maturities and a lot of different organizations, right? So let's talk a little bit about that because we have named our plans for Tikit very specifically, Teams ticketing, service desk, ITSM. So for those that aren't already aware of kind of that maturation scale, there's a need for different sets of features and an ability to have more control over your processes and how you deliver service to your organization at different, kind of points in the maturation of your business and your processes and your team. So we know as organizations grow, processes will mature, but systems that handle ticketing don't always do that with you, and sometimes you reach a ceiling. So what do these kind of concepts in the market look like? Well, it kind of starts at the earliest stages of support ticketing, and that's why we've named Teams ticketing exactly that. Is to be able to basically capture requests, turn them into tickets, and then be able to organize that work. And the beauty of doing that in Teams, we all already know, that's why you're here today, right? But the term service desk a lot of times comes around as like a team. And it is a team within an organization, but that team needs the proper tools to be able to start to take, go from basic ticketing and get into a place where we can start to deliver more self-service options and also get more non-IT areas of the business involved in how we manage those types of requests. We also want to set more business rules, start thinking about SLAs and how we, commit to the business what kind of service we're going to deliver. And then finally, if I were just to keep these really simplified, IT service management gets more into where you're starting to predefine and automate repeatable processes that you can then package up as services and deliver across the business. And once again, regardless of IT, non-IT, it doesn't matter. But now you're getting more proactive. You're actually catering to the business. And, I'll actually come out and say it, IT leading the business through service delivery. So that's kind of an overview of like kind of that maturation process. And so let's take a look at how Tikit has tried to kind of align to that maturation process so you can grow with Tikit no matter where you're at in your journey. So our Microsoft Teams ticketing product, a basic kind of way of looking at how you can manage tickets is starting by creating that ticket, whether it be right-clicking on a chat in Teams and turning it into a ticket, which we all love, or whether it be any other means, right? Even just being in Teams and creating one because somebody stops by your desk and asks you for help, right? Gathering more information, storing that within the ticket, and then closing it. So we have some way of looking back at the work we've done and understanding what works, what doesn't work. So our service desk product, we wanted to allow organizations that needed an extra step for approvals or maybe have compliance needs to be able to put that approval piece into the product, right? So now with approvals, you're able to kind of put a bit of a gatekeeper there, not for the reasons of slowing work, but the reasons of, again, compliance, documentation and posterity, or maybe we need just more oversight into some of the things that we're doing across the organization. So what's going to happen with IT service management is we are now going to add another element to this, and that is the actual assigning, tracking, and completing of work via tasks. But what's really exciting about ITSM is beyond just being able to create tasks, because we all know that we have those same types of tickets and even those same types of services that we want to deliver, but they're repeatable. And to create multiple tasks and approvals for every ticket every time it comes in is not something that we can sustain as a business and still deliver quality service. So because of that, I'm really excited to talk more about this life cycle feature that I mentioned before. So what are ticket life cycles? So instead of just looking at it as creating a ticket, gathering info, getting an approval, maybe completing a task and closing in that linear format, we're now going to introduce some new concepts. So what you see here, just a couple of examples I want to go through. Application access would be an interesting one. So you'll see that we have grant access and user validation as a couple of steps in a workflow like this. So as a part of our new lifecycle feature, these would be phases of work that you could create. And within those phases, you can now associate activities to those phases and build out the activities that need to happen. Could be multiple tasks, could be multiple approvals, a single approval, whatever it may be for that phase of work. But we all also know that somebody might be incomplete in how they manage those tasks, or an approval could be rejected and somebody might manually move it forward anyway, even though we need to reevaluate it. So what is key to life cycles and automating these phases of work and also holding the organization accountable is the introduction of transitions between phases and conditional logic within those transitions. So let's take a look at two examples that kind of highlight the power of activities and transitions within life cycles. So a really simple request for change example here. So we want to not just create the change itself, but all the change details that are needed to assess risk and understand where it fits into our priorities, review board, for approvals, and then obviously deploying and validating that change before we close it out. So with life cycles, we are now able to create these phases of work and aggregate the activities needed to be done to complete each phase, as well as the conditions that allow us to know, can we move forward or should we go back or should we even fail a life cycle? So in this example right here for a review board, let's just say that we get to the review board process, but we fail our approval. And you can see here in this illustration that because our approval has failed, we have not met our conditions to move forward. So life cycles will allow you to now determine what you want to do with this. And you can automate this. Should I fail my life cycle and start completely over? Or do I just need to kick it back to change details, gather more information because we can't adequately assess risk? It's a really powerful IT example of a failure of approval and a failure of conditions, allowing you to automate what you do with your process. So maybe a non-IT example, because we love our customers that use Ticket sometimes exclusively for non-IT, even though it is really more designed, with IT in mind. It can do anything your business needs to put into business processes, to centralized business processes, excuse me, into Microsoft 365 technology. So a new hire, we look at this process and there are many steps, and it goes across multiple departments. Once again, we build our life cycle phases. We include all the activities that need to be completed in the conditional logic that we want to take effect automatically if our conditions are not met. So in this case, we get through interviews, we narrow it down to a couple of finalists, and we actually send an offer to our favorite candidate for this job. And we're excited for them to start. But they're such a great candidate, they actually maybe found another opportunity and it just doesn't work for them. We need to go back and take a look at all the work we've done before. So we could just fail this and start over. Maybe this isn't the right, role for us. Maybe we need to reevaluate. This person, decided to go a different direction. Or we can also just go back to our interview process, take a look at the other candidates that we thought were good finalists, and get an offer out to them as quickly as possible. So just a couple of examples of how Lifecycle is going to change the way you use Ticket, how it's going to allow you to start to pre-package these repeatable processes and automate them to deliver better service across your business. All right, so with that, I'm actually going to hand it over to our Director of Product Management, is Adam Dizaki. A lot of you guys know him. You've been talking to him maybe via the roadmap or maybe in his technically speaking calls, which I know he's going to talk a little bit about. So Adam, I'd like for you to take over if you don't mind and just dig in a little bit more into the power of these different components of Lifecycle and where we go from here.
Absolutely. So to Justin, I say thanks. To everyone else, I say what's up, what's up. I'm excited to get into this and talk about Lifecycle and everything that is coming to Ticket. So quick overview of Ticket Lifecycle, because again, we went through a couple of examples. I want to talk about just like the core foundational fundamental components of what makes a Ticket Lifecycle so special. So it's really broken down into four parts. We have the phases of work that make up your process. We have the activities such as approvals or tasks that make up that phase of work. We have transitions that allow you to move between those phases of work. And finally, should you so choose, the ability to control the logic by which those transitions move between phases of work as you see fit. But enough conceptual talk. Let's talk about actually what this looks like inside of the product. So let's go to the next slide here. This is what Edit Ticket is going to look like. And if you're looking for our current customers on the call, this probably looks rather familiar, except you're going to notice a few small key differences. And that's that we can see the new hardware declared as our life cycle. We can see the current phases of work. And if you look really closely, you can actually see that all of the phases of work that we have not done yet are in gray. The active, the in progress phase of work is in green. And in this case, our currently in progress phase of work is an accounting review. Now, how do I know it's an accounting review? Because that's kind of cut off there, but that's okay, because when I click on that phase of work, I'm actually going to be taken to the new Life Cycles tab, where I can actually see all of the tasks and all of the approvals associated with what is, in this case, the current in progress phase of work. But I want to do more than just show screenshots, because this only goes so far. In fact, I'd rather turn over to a live demo. So that's what I'm going to do now. So let me stop sharing. And actually, you know what? Hang on. Let me flip to a different window. That's what I want to do. And I'm going to go to here. I'm going to go to there. I'm going to share. And hopefully everyone should be able to see my screen now. So here I am in web.ticket.ai. And I'm on a ticket that you can see has a life cycle associated with it. Again, you can see which life cycle is on that ticket. In this case, it's new hardware. You can see the current phase of work that we're in, that's accounting. But the question now is like, how do I actually add a life cycle to a ticket? Because we're going to introduce this new concept. It's going to have phases of work. It's going to have task approvals. Like, how do I actually do it? Well, the good news is that it's actually as easy as adding a template to a ticket as you currently do today. In fact, all I'm going to do is click on add, I'm going to hit apply template, hit save. I'm going to add that life cycle to the template. And whether I'm adding this template to this ticket, whether it be manually or through Ticket Virtual Agent, it means that my lifecycle will be applied, my phases of work begin, and all parties involved begin receiving the work that they need to receive at the right time, the first time, every single time. So, because the demo gods are currently getting to me right now, how do I actually build this lifecycle? Oh, thanks. There we go. So once this lifecycle actually applies, you can see that my phases are now there. This will actually start, and accounting review has now begun. But anyway, like I said, how do I actually build this lifecycle? Well, over in the settings tab for Ticket, you can see that I actually already have this new lifecycle navigation node. You can see that I have several lifecycles that I've already created and are actively involved in my system right now. And if I wanted to, I actually could just get a quick breakdown of what's in each life cycle. I could see the phases of work. I could see the approvals and the tasks associated with each phase without even having to dive into this yet. But we're going to do that next. So if I head over into new hardware, here's my new hardware lifecycle, right? And my lifecycle has a title, has a description, and it also has this checkbox. When this lifecycle completes or fails, automatically change the ticket status to resolved. And this is really important because this is actually unique to the concept of when you apply a lifecycle to a ticket, because we want to ensure that your process is followed. We want to ensure the lifecycle actually completes. So when you have a lifecycle on a ticket, you will be unable to just close that ticket. You can no longer just arbitrarily close the ticket. You have to complete the life cycle. You have to complete all of the phases within that life cycle before you're allowed to actually close this. And this checkbox allows you to say, if it completes or fails, we're going to automatically mark the associated ticket as resolved. But again, it only applies to tickets that have a life cycle associated to them. So let's go to our phases. And in this case, I want to go to the accounting review. So you can see here in my accounting review phase of work, I gave it a name, right? I have one approval in this phase. It's I want to verify the expense. An employee is requesting new hardware. If this purchase is acceptable, please approve this request, otherwise reject it. It goes to Alex, right? And again, every time that this starts, Alex is going to get this notification to approve. But what happens after he approves? Or better yet, what happens after he rejects? What would happen in these scenarios? Well, that is where we come to transitions. So with transitions, our default logic is just simply as long as all tasks are completed, as long as all approvals are approved, we're just going to move to the next phase of work. That's exactly what happens. And then it's on to IT order request new hardware. But what if I didn't want to follow the default logic? Well, that's okay, because if I want to do something just a little bit more advanced, this should probably be familiar to anyone that's familiar with our automations platform, is that maybe I want to flip on Logic Builder. I'm going to turn off my default logic. And I could say something like, well, as long as the task, well, no, I meant approval. And the, oh, yep, the verify expense, that's the one up there. And if it's rejected, then I want to, well, I don't want to move to the next phase. I want to fail the life cycle. And I can even provide a reason too. Now, the other thing that's also worth pointing out, because this is something Justin called out, is maybe I want to return to a previous phase of work. I could do that here. In fact, I could go to the implied previous phase, or I can pick another phase I want to go to. If I go back to a previous phase of work, this reason field will be provided to anyone who has already done it, right? So in this case, if Alex received that approval again, he'd probably want to know why he has to approve the same approval for the same ticket for the same person. This reason field now gives him some context as to why he has to do it over. So again, I can have as many phases as I want. I can have as many tasks and approvals in those phases, and I can have one or many transitions associated with a phase. So that wraps things up for the demo, but it doesn't wrap things up for other changes coming to Ticket. So let's go back to the slide. And let me take control. So up next, because again, it's more than just lifecycle for ITSM. The next change that is coming to the ITSM tier is that when it comes to actually viewing all the life cycles, when it comes to viewing all of the work associated with these life cycles, I'm going to have life cycles, phases, tasks, approvals, tickets. There's a lot I'm going to have to stay on top of as an agent. Which is why the next big change that's going to be happening is that my work is going to be getting an overhaul so that you can see all of your tickets, approvals, tasks, life cycles, phases, everything in a single view. And if you're looking closely, you're going to see some familiar concepts like SLAs are now going to make their way into the My Work view. And also, if you're looking really closely, there's a couple of new concepts that are also making their way into the ITSM tier. But that is not the only change happening to my work. There is also one more change coming, because as tickets expand, as tickets expand your organization, whether it be across departments, whether it be across different levels of employees, or better yet, across your peers. Maybe you want to know what your peers are working on. Maybe they're on vacation, maybe they're out sick, or maybe you just need to double up and crush some tickets on a single day. We're also going to be introducing my group's work, which is exactly like my work, except you get to see everything your peers in your group are working on. Again, as it pertains to their tickets, tasks, approvals, what those SLAs are, what the phases are in, all of it in a single view. But life cycles, as you know about RDC, they can span a lot. That's why we're bringing my group work in. So what I hope you can see here is that across life cycles, across my work, my group's work, and the ability to apply all of these templates with life cycles associated, we hope what you're seeing here is the ability to mature any and every single process within your organization. And that comes with a couple other things, again, also making their way to the ITSM tier. First is that you could see that with an AI-powered service catalog, we are going to be able to bring all of your knowledge articles, all of your templates, all of their custom forms, and all of their life cycles into a single product for self-service, for complete self-service for your end users. Again, driven entirely by artificial intelligence through Tikit Virtual Agent, or manually if you want to just apply those to a ticket. Next up is also Notification Center. This is something we've heard on the roadmap, and is also a feature that we're actively developing and pursuing, is that I want to be able to customize and control every notification flowing in and out of Tikit, whether it be on Teams or on email. Up next is the Azure Monitor integration. Now, given the ITSM tier operates within kind of more of an enterprise space, and especially for those invested in Azure, this marks our next big major Microsoft integration point, so that you can become proactive about issues in your environment, so that you can have, whether it be hardware, devices, resources in Azure, can now automatically create tickets in your ticket environment rather than start to receiving them from your end user. So again, it allows you to become more proactive and less reactive to tickets coming in. And finally, this is another really big one because it's also been on the roadmap, is the idea of affected users and collaborators. And on the roadmap, you may see them as, I want multiple assignees on a ticket. I want multiple requesters on a ticket. That is exactly what affected users and collaborators is. And with the introduction of affected users and collaborators, there is also one, because it's worth mentioning, one very closely related feature that is also going to be changing. We will be, with affected users and collaborators, lifting the restriction on the ability of how you merge tickets. So currently right now, you can only merge a ticket if it comes from the same requester. With affected users and collaborators, you are going to be able to push whatever amount of tickets you want together, regardless of who they came from, into a single ticket. So it's just about time for me to wrap some things up here. And to do that, I actually wanted to put out a call to action on this last slide here on how to get involved in the Tikit community, the Tikit product, and certainly with me and everyone else here. Two things that I want to make sure everyone is aware of. The first one is our roadmap site. Roadmap.tikit.ai is how you can submit feature requests, comment on other feature requests, and also, well, just tell us how you really think something should be coming and getting shaped into the product. And the second one is Technically Speaking. If you're not familiar with this event, this is actually an event that I host at the end of every single month. It's the last Friday of every single month, where I will go through whatever you want. We can talk about whatever you so choose. Are you building a process? Do you want to brainstorm on something in Power Automate or Power BI? But you can also collaborate with all of your fellow Tikit customers as well. So this is just an open forum. It's an hour-long, last Friday of every month. If you're not there, I would encourage you to come. For everyone actually on this call that has been attending Technically Speaking or been on the last couple of you, thank you for showing up, because I hope you could see that several of these features and also the roadmap have been directly influenced by you. So with all of that said, I think that wraps things up for me. Joel, I'm going to turn things back to you.
All right, then. Appreciate it, Adam. Some great information there. So, I introduced myself earlier. I'm the director of sales, so shameless promotion time. If you are an existing customer, we want to do whatever we can to help you get access to this new feature functionality that's coming out in July. So anyone who's on an annual M365 service desk plan, as of that release date, will be upgraded at no additional cost. There is a little bit of a marketing ask in terms of we're really going to want to dig in and understand maybe a process that you have in mind that maps well to the lifecycle functionality or other feature functionality that's going to be coming out with the third plan. So we encourage you to just simply drop us an email at team@tikit.ai. I'm right here on the screen, and we'll be happy to fill you in on what you can do to qualify for that upgrade to ITSM when it's released. Also, if there's any existing Cyerson customers on the line, I think there's a few of you, we want to hear from you as well. Please contact us at either team@tikit.ai or team@Cyerson. Happy to go over any questions that you have about not only your existing service manager processes, but also anything covered in this session and how that relates to you. Aside from that, that's about the extent of the content for today's session. Certainly appreciate everyone's time. Hope to hear from you, and look forward to next time.